Now, Amy, you said something about content creation. You
Yeah.
said a guy left law
Yeah.
to go be a content creator.
Yeah.
I'm curious in your stage because you are a guru in the content creation space. You teach people how to launch courses, how to build their email list. And y'all, I don't know if y'all remember this. I had Amy on like 2 years ago, right when I started my show back on my own. And she looked at me on my own show and said, Anthony, you are dumb for not having an email list. And today, Amy, I got to say, we're 60,000 strong in our email list because of you calling me out
You
on my
are
own
so
show.
good. That makes me so happy.
Amy was like, wait, Anthony, you don't have an email list right here on my own show. I was like, I don't. I'm sorry. And she's
Wow.
been a huge, you and your team has really helped me out with that. So thank you for that. But some people kind of frown upon content creators, Amy. And I'm curious,
Yeah.
what's your honest thoughts on this new rise of content creators who are making millions of dollars a year from sharing their story? Prime example, and I'm curious because I know in your book you talk a little bit about this in the 2 weeks notice, you guys, and again, her book comes out February 21st. You all need to get this book. We're going to put a link to the book in today's show notes. We're going to ask a little bit more questions about the book, but I had to put that plug in there because it's Amy Porterfield. So, but back to this, Amy. Content creators, speak to that because there are some people who come to me saying, man, I can't be a content creator. That's not a real career. That's not a real job. There's nothing promising there. What are you seeing in the content creation space? And would you advise someone to enter into the content creation business?
I'm a little old school. I'm a little older. So when I think of the content creation space, what I'm not okay with is just, I'm going to get on TikTok, I'm going to become famous, and I'm going to make a lot of money. I can't even stand it. I feel like I sound like my mom and dad. Like, no, this is not how you do business.
Yeah.
And although there are people that are killing it, but I think that they are an exception. Like if you're making millions doing that, I think that's an exception. So here's what I think. I love content creators. I love getting on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and doing all the things and getting your message out there. But I also think you need a sound business model. So in my book, 2 weeks notice, I go through different business models, whether it be a digital course business, you have a membership, you have a mastermind, maybe you do consulting or coaching or a service-based business. I do believe you have to take it beyond just, I'm going to post videos on YouTube or I'm going to post videos on TikTok. You've got to do more to have a sustainable business that lives on. To get me off my high horse because I really get passionate about this one.
I see it. I see it in your face. Like, yo, this is not just going on TikTok and dancing. Like, no, what value are you bringing into the world?
Yes.
How are you utilizing the skills and the talents that you have, and how are you impacting people? And Amy, you did 2 years ago. I know you told us you did over $15 million in 1 year, and it just shook me because I was like, wait, $15 million in 1 year from doing this? I'm like, that's just crazy. Now, Amy, let's talk about this though. When people hear freedom, right? When they hear freedom, when they hear, okay, I'm going to leave my job and I'm going to have freedom. How do you really think about this from this perspective of how do you go from having to work 8 hours to where now you only can work the hours you want to work, but you still got to be productive?
Yes.
So how do you balance between coming from having to work to now you have the freedom to work your own hours? And this is something I see that go wrong with a lot of entrepreneurs.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to work. And they think that it's easier and that they should only have to work 5 hours a week. And I'm old school. I mess with my young guy here on my team, my good friend Alex. He was like, hey, I'm going to work smart. And then me and CJ, the older guys, were like, man, we're going to work hard. But I'm learning there's a balance between both. You got to have a balance between working hard and working smart. How about you talk to us? Because I think a lot of people think entrepreneurship is going to be easier and less time.
Oh, it is just the opposite in the beginning, quite honestly. Like I went from a job where I thought I was working tons of hours and then I start my own business and I'm like, what is happening? I thought I'd be on a beach. I was going to say smoking Mai Tais. I meant drinking Mai Tais.
Smoking Mai Tais. That's different, Amy. Come on now.
Introduce
me to it.
That's a little different. Drinking some Mai Tais with a laptop in my lap and just like, having the life. And that is not necessarily what entrepreneurship is, especially in the beginning. And so here's what I'll say. I love this idea of working hard and working smart. I do think the two need to be aligned. And I do think the younger generation is better at working smart than working harder. I think you and I definitely, we're not even the same age, but that hard work mentality, that's how we were raised.
Yeah.
And so what I see is that when you go out on your own, I do think before you go out, make it clear in your head the lifestyle that you want. I did this wrong where I did not know what kind of lifestyle I wanted. Like, how much do you want to work? Where do you want to work? When do you want to work? When are you going to stop working every day? What's important to you? Do you want to be home for dinner time with your family? Do you want to take those vacations? Get clear on the lifestyle that you want to build and how you want to live. And then build your business around that. What I did is I built a business and tried to stuff in a lifestyle. And then I was mad that I never had time to enjoy the money I was making or the life that I wanted.
Wow.
And so I do think you have to be intentional, and it's journaling, it's visualizing, anything you want to do, get clear on the life you want. And then you have to create these non-negotiables. I talk about in the book. Non-negotiables are basically, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this, so that you don't create a business you absolutely hate a few years in. And I think that's really important. Also, you don't need to work 10 hours, 8 hours a day if you don't want to, but get clear on how much money you want to make. Like, this is another thing. I'm very clear how much money I plan to make by the end of this year. And so that's going to dictate what I do and what I don't do. And so I always have that goal driving me.
Hey, I want y'all to comment below. How much money do you want to make this year? Let me say that again, because I had to lean back and I was away from the mic. How much money do you all want to make this year? And I think put that in the YouTube comments. If you're listening to this on podcast, hey, do me a favor just for today. Jump over to the YouTube channel and just drop that in the comments, because I want to see. I want to see, and you know me, I'm a praying man, so I'm gonna pray over those numbers for you. I'm gonna pray that you hit your figures this year. You know, our company's goal this year is in between $5 to $10 million. Bare minimum is $5 million. But if God want to touch it and double it, hey, He can give us $10 million. You know, and so that's my number, $5 to $10 million. What's your number, you guys? Put that in the comments. Let me know. I'm gonna be praying over those. Amy, we are seeing that about 50.5 million people quit their jobs in the year 2022.
Yeah.
I think some for not so good reasons, but I think the majority of them are for good reasons. I'm curious, why do you think so many people are actually leaving the workforce today?
Here's why I think it's happening. We went through COVID and we are just coming out of it. And during that time, many of us had a recalibration. We started to look around and think, wait a second, what was important to me before is not as important anymore. And a lot of people who were living for their jobs, being like the best employees ever, getting and paid less than they should and undervalued, realize that is not a priority for me anymore. And so the 9 to 5 job where it was up here now becomes like lower on the priority list. They got to make money, but they're not going to make it their all. And so because of that, then they start looking around thinking, is this really what I want? Like, if you find yourself at your 9 to 5 job or driving in this morning and you're like, I'm dreading this, this is not what I want, then let's get clear about what you do, because life is too short. And Anthony, I think you're such a great example for someone who went after what he wanted. You had golden handcuffs. You had a really cool job and you got paid a lot of money and you had a lot of clout, and your ego had to be tied to that, because my ego was tied to my Tony Robbins job and I wasn't a personality there. And so, but you still knew you wanted something different and better for yourself. And so you're a perfect example that you went for it. And now you are literally living the life that people would just die for. And I think that you're an example of what is possible. And so I love that you're talking about this kind of stuff.
Oh, I am. Now I want to talk about your book, because I know people are saying, all right, wait, I'm ready to turn in my 2 weeks notice. Y'all keep saying 2 weeks notice. So what is his 2 week notice? So 2 weeks notice is Amy Porterfield's first book, y'all. Her first book that I believe is going to be a New York Times bestseller. And pretty much she's going to help you find the courage to quit your job, make more money, work where you want, and change the world. Now, Amy, I always do research to see how many books are out there right around this type of subject. And Amy, there's from what I can see on Amazon alone, over 15,000 books on how to start a business and how to start this and how to quit your job and how to resign. I'm curious, Amy, What did you see missing in this particular topic that inspired you to write this book?
The step by step. So one thing I'm known for is walking people through step by step what you need to do in the order you need to do it.
Wow.
And so what I decided was I set out to write a book to help you build an online business, like the foundation of an online business, whatever kind of business you want to do. But then I realized, wait a second. First of all, if I'm going to do that, I need to literally break it down. This is not stuff we learn in school, and people are clueless. You remember when you came out on the scene and had to do all that stuff yourself? It's very overwhelming.
It is.
So I want to walk people through step by step. I couldn't find a book that did that. I also couldn't find a book that helped you build the runway from the day you decide you want to leave your job to the day you do. All the stuff, we just scratched the surface here, but all the stuff you want to do so that the day you leave, you feel like, I got this. I'm going to start making some good money and making a good impact. So it's the guidebook for all of that. And I just didn't see it. And I hadn't seen it written by a woman. And it was important to me also to get that out there.